So last night, the Timberwolves were the victors in a game against the Pacers that went down to the wire and were saved by an Anthony Edwards game-saving block. That is one of the best blocks I've ever seen, especially with the stakes involved of, the game being on the line. It was an amazing play by an amazing player. Anthony Edwards is going to have to play out of his mind down the stretch for the Timberwolves to be okay. Because if you didn't see the news, Cat injured his meniscus and is going to be out for the rest of the regular season, at least, potentially missing some time in the playoffs. Now, I don't know the exact details of his operation or anything, so I can't, speculate on how this will affect him in the future or anything, but I wanted to take a look at the Timberwolves' upcoming schedule and decide, hey, are they going to be all right? Break it down, hey, are they going to still be a good team? Not that they wouldn't be a good team, but, not to the level that they are currently. So, taking a look at the rest of their schedule, they have the 12th hardest schedule remaining. They have 3 remaining matchups with the Nuggets, 1 with the Clippers, 2 with the Cavs, 2 with the Suns, 1 with the Warriors, 2 with the Lakers. Those are their toughest opponents. They do still have games against the Wizards, the Pistons, the Raptors. So they don't have a incredibly tough schedule remaining, but they do have a fairly hard schedule. And with how tight the top of the West is right now, with Minnesota being the 1 seed, but the Thunder half a game back from them, and the Nuggets half game behind the Thunder, they will likely end up falling to the 3 seed if I had to guess, maybe the 4 seed, depending on how they play with the rest of this. I think the Nuggets will at least catch them, considering they have 3 matchups left with the Nuggets, and the Nuggets, I think, will win 2 of them at least. And the way that they would have to win is solely through Ant, basically, because their offensive rating is not great already, especially in the clutch. In the clutch, they have a 105.5 offensive rating, which is 24th in the NBA. And that's with Karl Anthony Towns. Without Karl Anthony Towns, their offense is going to be even worse. So, especially in the half-court setting, they will probably struggle offensively to find their rhythm. If Ant is not at the top of his game, they're going to struggle to score in games. And even though their defense is great, I have a hard time seeing them being able to keep the pace that they're at right now without Anthony Edwards being Michael Jordan basically down the stretch, which, hey, last night he had 44 and the game-winning block. So, he was pretty fucking close last night, but we'll see how he can keep that up through the rest of the season. But Karl Anthony Towns, it sucks that this injury came at this time because they have struggled with injuries in the past. Last season, injuries were a large part of why they struggled. And this season, they've been relatively healthy up until this point. And of course, it's Karl Anthony Towns that gets hurt, one of their most important players. I don't know why they made the lineup adjustment that they made. Chris Finch last night started Kyle Anderson in Karl Anthony Towns' place instead of Naz Reid. I was really expecting it to be Naz Reid. And Naz Reid played less minutes than Kyle Anderson, too. It was very similar amount of minutes, but Kyle Anderson has sucked this season, and there's no reason for him to be playing over Naz Reid, especially more minutes than Naz Reid. If it was we're going to start him but play him 15 minutes and we're going to close with Naz Reid, that's one thing. But Naz Reid should be playing over 30 minutes a game with Karl Anthony Towns out, and he played 26. Kyle Anderson played 27. Kyle Anderson shot 1 of 5 from the field. He has shot very poorly from 3 this season. He is not a good defensive player anymore, and there's no reason for him to have as high of a usage rate as he does with how lackluster he is as a advantage creator, as a shot creator, as anything really on the basketball court, because he has not played well this year. His 3-point shot is one of the ugliest looking jumpers in the league, and I'm shell-shocked that he is the person getting the starts right now. I don't even know if he should be in the rotation, frankly, let alone playing as much as he is. But I think the Timberwolves are still going to be good. I think the furthest they fall is like the 4 seed, though, because the Clippers are currently 3 games behind them, and they are 6.5 games above the 5 seed, which is the Pelicans. And the Pelicans are 7-3 in their last 10, but I don't take the Pelicans as seriously as I take, even the Timberwolves without Karl Anthony Towns, because the Pelicans don't have anyone as good as Anthony Edwards. They have solid players, really good players. Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Herb Jones has been fantastic this season. But I don't think that they are going to win enough games to make up a 6.5 game difference with only 20 games to go. And I could see the Clippers not winning as much either. They were 5-5 in their last 10 and have looked pretty shaky lately. They are not doing fantastic. So the Timberwolves, even if they win 12 of their next 19, which I don't think is unrealistic, I think that they will be fine in all likelihood. But, it's one of those things where we'll have to wait and see. This is all just speculation, obviously. And I think Anthony Edwards is going to have a platform to really put the league on notice as to how good he is. Because last season against the Nuggets, he was probably the best player for a series length that they faced. Devin Booker had the best games of anyone they faced, but I think Anthony Edwards was the biggest thorn in their side on that whole playoff run. And when it comes down to big moments, he has shown an aptitude to really being able to take it by the horns and say, no, I'm controlling the game now. I am the guy. Give the ball to me. I'll get a bucket. I'll create a big opportunity. I will come up on the defensive end. Anthony Edwards really has an opportunity to be like, hey, I'm a top 20 player. Hey, I'm a top 25 player. He can really prove to people, hey, I am that guy. I deserve to be mentioned in these discussions. This is my team, and I'm going to put us in a great position going into the playoffs. Now, I think if they fall to the 3 seed. If they don't, the 2 seed. And I think that would be kind of a big difference there, because if you're the 2 or 3 seed, that decides home court advantage against either the Nuggets or the Thunder, right? If you're the 2 seed. If you're the 3 seed, they get home court advantage. And the Nuggets are better at home. The Thunder are also better at home, but with the altitude that Denver has, the home court advantage in Denver is bigger than most places. And even though the Wolves are probably the toughest matchup for the Nuggets in the playoffs, in the West, I still think that the Nuggets are heavily favored in that series, especially if they have home court. Like, if they're going to home court for a crucial Game 5, they're winning that game at home. In Minnesota, you might have a chance of winning a Game 5. Now, Game 7, I think I'm hedging my bets on Jokic every time. I'm putting all my money on Jokic in Game 7s. But, there is opportunity there to still have a top seed. If you can, you obviously want to hold on to the 1 seed the entire time. But if I'm the Wolves, I'm looking at it and aiming to at least get a top 2 seed. Now, I don't know how realistic that is because, like I've said, Cat is a big part of their offense. The spacing he provides is really big. He has a lot of gravity off the ball that the defense cannot leave him open because he is one of the best shooters in the NBA. And without that, their already clogged half-court offense gets even more clogged. And they will really struggle to score the ball. But right now they are 44-19. They are half a game above the Thunder. They're a whole game above the Nuggets. They are 3 games above the Clippers. There is every opportunity to still finish the season out strong if you're the Wolves, but I just think that they will fall. I think they will end up being fine, but I think that they're setting themselves up for a tough first-round series and a second-round out. Because the report that Shams put out earlier today is that Karl Anthony Towns is aiming for a return early in the Western Conference playoffs. So let's say you fall to the 3 seed. Right now you'd be playing the Phoenix Suns in the first round. And as much as the Phoenix Suns fall apart in the fourth quarter, they don't have great depth, depth is kind of overrated in the playoffs, I think. It's important still, but they have Kevin Durant, they have Devin Booker, they have Bradley Beal, who I'm not super high on, but they have Bradley Beal. And they could really give the Timberwolves a run for their money in the first round. And if, Cat is coming back in, say, the third game, and they find themselves down 2-0, the Suns only have to win 2 of the next 5 games to advance. And I would see them winning 2 of 5 games in that situation. If they were to get the 2 seed, they would be playing, either the Mavs or the Kings, and Luka in the playoffs is a scary guy. I would take Luka in a series. There are ways that this falls where, depending on who they match up against in the first round, they could see themselves as a first round out without Karl Anthony Towns. With Cat, I think that they might be favored in a couple of those series, but we'll have to just wait and see. So, yeah, if you guys liked, remember to like and subscribe. I appreciate all the support lately. I put out a video on Victor Wembanyama yesterday that is doing fine now, but it could be doing better. So if you want to watch that, I'll put it in the card in the top right hand corner. So go watch that, like and subscribe, leave a comment. Yeah, see ya.